All right, wrapping up with some Naya Feather today. Feather redeemed here, 3-4 for 3, with 3-4 for 3 as a flyer that says whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets a creature you control, exile that card instead of putting it into your graveyard as it resolves. If you do, return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So we pair this with cards like Defiant Strike, Fight as One, God's Willing, and Reckless Rage here to get repeatable effects to generate card advantage and protect our board. Today we're trying this archetype with not only pathways from Zendikar for the first time, but also a few of the spell lands. So we have Sejiri Shelter here as a more expensive God's Willing that can double as a tapped white land in a pinch. I've got a couple Spikefield Hazard, and then I've got 4 Turntimber Symbiosis here. So interested to see if this one especially ends up feeling worthwhile. This can theoretically dig for Feather and drop it into play as a 6-7 flyer, which seems really sweet. So, I'm interested to see if we get to games where we go this long and this ends up being useful, or if it's just a worse land most of the time. So, let's go ahead and dive on into some games here with this one and see how it goes. I'm actually not sure on that, Hangman. I just know, in general, encouraging all your users to log in every day is generally a very common industry practice. Doesn't this deck usually run the green enchantment that draws a card when you target a creature? It depends on the build. There's also a very real chance that this deck's just not linear enough to keep up with what's going on in this current format anymore. Like, can we realistically race like what this archetype is doing is a real question, I think. Historic has a lot of the same problems that Standard does right now, except that it also has more people playing more things because there's more cards in it. But yeah, in general, most of the same issues in Standard also present in Historic. Okay. So, unfortunately, do not have a Reckless Rage here. Non-rotating formats are supposed to be more busted. I agree that Magic players that play non-rotating formats are conditioned to think there should be lots of non-games. That being said, they're kind of dressed up with nowhere to go here, huh? They actually don't have stellar attacks into my God's Willing here. So I cast this during my upkeep. So I give myself the best possible chance to draw exactly this. Can Reckless Rage overpower what they have going on, is the question. We 4-1 with Belcher. I mean, to be fair, it looks like we're winning this game. Actually, and again, like, I'm not actually convinced that Omnath is a problem. Like, there's a lot of people crying about Omnath, and I am not convinced that Omnath is something that needs to go away. Omnath is just one of many must-answer value cards. Whereas, like, Uro is a card that you can't answer without getting super far behind. Is the issue on a fundamental level. Yeah, but I needed to block the Omnath off of Bow. Maybe keeping Paradise Druid is better just for the red mana there. But in general, I wanted to block the Omnath there with that sequence of plays. So, like, I could have just chump blocked it with... I could have chump blocked it with Soul-Scar Mage, but... I theoretically... No, I need to keep Soul-Scar, right? Because I need to shrink these things with the Reckless Rages. I think I need to stay above 4 because this last trigger deals 4. I kind of don't want to give up my second red here, but I don't want to give up... I guess I have another Soul-Scar Mage. Hey, Intense Genius. Thank you for the 3/4 of a year of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. This is why there's exactly 2 Sunpetal Groves in my deck as the only buddy lands. Oh, I'm so dumb. No, I can still kill it, right? We're good. Okay, so we'll run back the same play where we do this, target this, and then we God's Willing in response. Because it doesn't matter if one of the targets is invalid. Okay, so they get to get in a hit with this turn, but we should still be above 4, hopefully. I would love a red spruce, thank you. Zesty, thanks for the 24 months. I appreciate the 2 years. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Alright, here's their card advantage. There's Uro. Yeah, the casual life gain from Omnath and now Uro means that I'm not going to be able to kill them anytime soon, right? Why is the best card... I mean, they already have Uro. Why is their best card draw Spell Gruul? Well, you see... Okay. Do I want a second Reckless Rage? Yeah, I think so. Yes, Dreadhorde Arcanist plus Feather does let you get cards back to your hand. That is correct. So I probably wanted to play that here for that reason. Picking Defiant Strike back up can get some real card advantage going. And, like, here the question is, like, does my opponent have Ugin? If they have Ugin to floop into, I probably can't win this game. If they don't, we could have a shot. But, like, my creature deck just never beats Ugin. Someone described Genesis Ultimatum as being very similar to Muxus the other day, and I think I'm here for that description, huh? Like, it's really just a bunch of people doing a bunch of crap like that? When lands aren't bad hit, it's very much just adjacent. Yeah. And again, like, we were able to stop their initial stuff they put together, but again, they just weren't, we weren't able to, what's the word I'm searching for? We weren't able to kill them and actually close the game out because they gained so much life. Wizards told Grand Finals competitors there were no historic changes coming on Monday, by the way. Remember when aggro was good against ramp? Pepperidge Farm remembers. I'm gonna cut these so they don't kill much. I'm gonna bring in this to have some counterplay against their sweepers. There were more Uros registered in today's standard SCG tournament than there were brainstorms registered in the last Legacy SCG Open. There's a statistic that really hammers the point home. That's quite the statistic. Using Spikefield to exile Uro is a losing proposition. Also, you're generally speaking not holding Spikefield up on turn 3 when they cast Uro. So, yeah. Spending a card to exile their thing that cantrip, ramp them, and gained them 3 life is not a good play. That's not a play that ends with you winning the game most of the time. Well, I mean, so, like, to be fair to R&D, like, blue-green was only supposed to have Once Upon a Time, Oko, and things like that in this format. So, obviously, it needed a little bit of an extra push with Uro. Sure. Clark Confidant is correct. That is, killing the Uro with Spikefield is something you will do with some frequency just because it's better than doing nothing, but that's not a play you really want to be making, so you don't leave Spikefield in so you can continue to make it. Is a good articulation. Gosh, could you imagine this deck with Agent of Treachery? Holy cow. I am really glad that that card's not legal at least. At least Agent of Treachery isn't a thing. It's the little things, chat. And fires. And I just like, I can never win, right? Like they're at 12 and they're gonna gain like 6 more life this turn. This is gonna come as a big surprise to you, Nickthos, but this format has most of the same problems that Standard does. I know you will be shocked to hear that. This format at least has the saving grace in that it's similar to Modern in that there's a lot of people that just play bad decks because they like them. So even though the format's not very well balanced, like, you still get a good amount of variety at least. Like, from a content perspective, this format's better on average. Thankfully, if you're someone that thinks Historic needs changes, 1 week from today, I need to tweet that out too, by the way, the next Hoaglandia Open will be featuring Modified Historic, where we will be playing a Historic tournament where Muxus, Uro, and Claim the Firstborn are all banned. So come experiment and play some sweet Magic where we try to balance the format ourselves a little bit. Sign-ups for that are open on MTG Melee now. We'll be doing full coverage here all day, like we've been known to do. Can I talk a little about the claim ban? I would encourage you to read my write-up here. If you've read my write-up on my website about why I'm banning Claim the Firstborn and would like to discuss it further, feel free to let me know, but read my thoughts there first. Yeah, no problem, Bo. Yeah, this is fine. Nah, there's no way they ban Omnath and leave Uro. 0% chance of that. Go ahead and hold up Paradise Druid with this Reckless Rage here at least. Ah, shit. Here we go again. We get to make this play at least. We're not excited about it, but it is what it is. Did you know Uro is the most played creature in Standard, Historic, Pioneer, and Modern, and the second in Legacy behind Plague Engineer? I did not know that stat, but I believe it. Uro should not be legal in any Magic formats outside of perhaps Legacy. Even there, it's probably debatable. I don't know, pretty messed up things happen in Legacy, so it's probably fine there. Plague Engineer is just a good value card. There's a lot of things that are incidentally humans in Legacy. Uro's blue, it's great Legacy. Yeah, it's true. So, a little trick we get to do here is, we get to... I can cast the backside with Dreadhorde Arcanist. Go home, Magic Arena, you're drunk. That's a bug, chat. I can, however, return it to my hand by targeting my thing. So that's nice. Alright, I'm gonna kill this now before they can neoform it. Cue carnival music, chat! Cue the carnival music! Oh, historic. Oh, historic. Historic staple tuck tuck rebel fort, chat. I had 2 pieces of interaction. They had 2 packs of negation. You know, it's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. I'm gonna bring in Abrades and cages, trim my protection spells. They're pretty unlikely to be interacting with me. Red, you're right up, and I am forced to agree with your position despite being biased in favor of Saktos. So you consider improving mid-range position to be valuable for its own sake, or is it an instrumental goal in pursuit of more general archetype diversity? I think both. I think in general having aggro be the best style of deck in the format is good. I also think at a fundamental level, and I talked about this in my write-up, that banning Uro, Muxus, and Claim the Firstborn, I don't think banning any of those cards makes any of the decks that play them unplayable. And I think if you can take a card out of every one of the best decks in the format and they're still all playable good decks, but they're weaker, so the not best decks can be closer to them in power level, then that's a good change. Because I don't want to stop people from playing decks that they like and that they enjoy, but at the same time, I want people who want to brew to be able to do that and to feel like they're going to get rewarded for doing that. That's explicitly why I didn't, like, gut the ramp decks, and I didn't take, you know, Woe Strider or Priest of the Forgotten Gods or stuff like that. Out of good quality gameplay out of the other decks. See chat, Cage the Elephant. Ain't no rest for the wicked. Money don't grow on trees. We got bills to pay, we got mouths to feed. It really shows how much my country has been desensitized to the evil, awful things that the GOP and Trump have done. That Trump is just like currently on a campaign tour, going state to state, breaking local distancing and mask and gathering guidelines as he goes, and nobody has the power to stop him. He just gets to break whatever laws he wants and do whatever he pleases. It's really, really unfathomable. The greatest lie I was told as a child growing up was in my civics classes. The United States, as it was set up, was not configured to handle an entire party acting in bad faith. It's kind of unreal. I think we keep this hand even though it doesn't have a cage. We only have 2 cages to mulligan to. This hand's got good spells on all of its colors. Magic's a skill game, chat. I'm gonna wait to play this out. I'm gonna get my pressure down first here. Correct, Xerix. That's why when someone in the United States tells you they're a centrist, but they don't vote Democrat, they're not a centrist. They're someone on the right. The Republican Party has run so far to the right that the Democrats include people from left of center to even a little bit right of center in some cases. Democrat versus Republican isn't left versus right. It's fascist versus people who understand that the GOP has become fascist. I missed a prowess trigger. I apologize. I think I'm Spikefield Hazarding my 10th District Legionnaire during my upkeep. But, like, it's, like, worth noting that, like, Biden is centrist at best or even right of center globally at worst. And even he is going to fight to improve healthcare and make things better, right? Because, like, making sure people don't go broke if they get sick shouldn't be a left versus right thing. It should be a human thing. It is abhorrent that in one of the wealthiest countries in the world, people are allowed to lose everything they've worked for over their lives because them or a family member got sick. Correct, Supali. As someone who grew up in a conservative household and fancied myself a centrist during undergrad and grad school, as I became more educated and understood how the world worked, I realized very quickly that I was an idiot to consider myself a centrist. That's not how reality works. Yeah, perhaps Ayubuff, but like the US is very significantly wealthy. We could afford to have a slightly less wealthy country overall if it meant better things for more people. Jeff admits he was radicalized by college. I was actually radicalized by Donald Trump. I was pretty apolitical, pretty typical privileged white male, didn't really care, politics largely didn't affect me. And Donald Trump and his treatment of people in general blew my eyes wide open to making me realize I should care about this because of the great amounts of evil him and the GOP have perpetrated in the last 2.5 years, 4 years, however long this hellhole's been. Chat, I voted for Gary Johnson in 2016. Trust me when I tell you I didn't care and I was an idiot and I was uninformed. This is kind of cute. Opponent is playing Neoform and Niv combo. I've actually never smoked anything, ever. Not really a fan. The smells pretty bad. Did I just punt lethal because of Pact of Negation? I just punted lethal because of Pact of Negation. That's really funny. I should have, if I would have just attacked, we would have killed them. They have to chump block here at least. Yeah, and they have to pay 5 here, so we should be okay. But I would have had I had onboard lethal if I would have just attacked. Yeah, can we go back to Magic when fair div visit decks were like a thing? Remember those Jeskai control decks from that standard era? Oh, by the way, some of these Teamer Adventure lists are actually 4-color Omnath Adventurers. Let's check really quick if that's one of them. All right, whew. No Omnath. All right, only 14 out of 16. Everybody, never mind. Stop making a big deal out of it. It's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal, chat. Chat, do you remember that time they banned Growth Spiral? Anybody else remember that? I don't. It seems like a different lifetime, right? Remember when they banned Growth Spiral, and after they banned Growth Spiral, Uro Nissa was still the best deck in the format? And then they still left Uro legal when rotation happened? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Well, so, like, I can almost give them credit for, like, wanting to try something else and, like, ban Growth Spiral instead and see if that was it. But, like, when Growth Spiral rotated and it was still all Uro decks, like... What do you think happens first? Historic comes to the Gatherer or Uro gets banned in Historic? I think Uro will get banned first. I don't expect Historic to ever come to the Gatherer. Alright, one Reckless Rage, please. I'm gonna offer this trade here. Okay. Nope. Unsure. Alright, you got it, opponent. I will not be using my graveyard. All of my graveyard is belong to you. That tournament was the SCG tournament that's going on today. There's also a Red Bull tournament going on that is not that dissimilar from the results I just showed you there. If they have another Primal Might, we're going to be in trouble. That is not the Reckless Rage I wanted for Christmas. So they can eat this and go to 9. I hit them for 6 and give up the Spellbreaker. That doesn't seem like a good exchange for me, though. I'm just going to attack for 3 in the air. I really hope our custom ban list tournament next weekend goes well. Because I would really like to be able to know that we could run tournaments with custom formats and have an interest in them from the community. Really, really hoping that gets to be the case. Do you see the Runeterra survey that went out? I did not, Crazy Duck. I will be posting something about my tournament probably when I'm getting ready to sign off today. I'll post something up about it again. This God's Willing is lethal, right? I mean, we can do custom unbans I just think custom unbans are likely to be even less popular than custom bans. Because at least when we're just banning cards, people can still technically play those decks on the ladder. Whereas, like, if you want to unban cards, those decks aren't technically historic legal. Why is there not a link to that post on the website? It's linked on the event page. So if you look under the rules of the event, it says modified historic and modified the words modified historic linked to my ban list justifications. Well, I mean, we technically don't have format validation for this 10-ton hammer. Like, we're going to be manually making sure people aren't registering Muxus, Uro, and all of that. So, if we did custom unbans, you just list it as free form, and you manually enforce it, just like we're going to list it as historic and manually enforce it. Yeah, I mean, you can challenge each other on Magic Arena with 2 decks that are 40 cards or more with whatever you want in them. I want Fight as 1 is pretty good in combat. Extra Spellbreaker seems okay. Dreadhorde Arcanist probably has a pretty hard time attacking on average. Probably not going to live to get to Turntimber Symbiosis too often. I don't think I want to Abrade here. It's probably better than God's Willing, especially on the draw. They're playing Lotus Cobra in their green-red aggro deck. Huh. Alright, I mean, that's a play. I would have shocked that in, I suppose, if I realized Lotus Cobra was something we were playing around. I was just like, in my head, I was like, there's no 2-drop that we want to Spikefield Hazard. Yeah, I guess it's a piece of acceleration that attacks, technically, right? Yeah, seems fine. This put me a whole turn behind now, though. Because, like, now I can't Paradise Druid. I'd have Feather in play with Fight as 1 up this turn. If I had shocked. No Questing Beast here is really good for us. Hey, afternoon, Bob. Good morning for you on the left coast. Catching us right at the tail end today. Playing a little bit of Historic and chuckling about the state of Magic Standard format. You know, just a normal day in the neighborhood. Feels like the format just slipped out of bounds like a Bethesda game. That's a good way to put it. I don't know where we all went wrong. Chewbacker, thank you for the 7 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. stopping in their main phase to draw a card here. So this way Defiant Strike comes back to my hand at end of turn. This gives me the most possible draws with it, which is ideal. That's a decent pickup. I think I'm just going to go ahead and do this now. This is also a human, so my Fight is 1 gets to protect 2 things inside of combat now, which is also great. Agent of Treachery would have rotated by now, too. Okay. I really want to see one of those articles, Bob, where they like talk about the deck list that they found and what they looked like. Even if this is cleave here, we're not dead, right? I'm only going to 3 if they cleave this. I mean, they banned Winota and Agent of Treachery at the same time, Wanderer, if you don't remember the timelines. In Historic, Agent of Treachery wasn't the thing Winota was getting. So Winota was banned in Historic because of Angrass Marauders. I'm pretty sure those went at the same time. Let me check. Yeah, July 13th. Agent is banned. Winota is banned. Fires is banned. Oh, these all say from suspended. Oh, you're right. Winota was suspended. Winota was half a week after the agent ban, was it? Yeah, you're right. The timeline is blurry for me now. You're right, because Winota was like an emergency ban on her own day. Chat's correct. Because we talked about their 30-minute ban window. They like posted a thing about how they, and that one still gets me to this day, where they like posted a thing about how Historic's different, so we're gonna treat it different, so we're gonna ban Winota with 30 minutes notice, and then they went back to treating it like every other format immediately after that. Sorry, I think my mental had blocked that out because it's still so frustrating that it happened to this day. I don't want to think about it. Dear opponent, please don't Chain Whirler me. So it looks like they're playing the Goblin variations with, at the very least, Thoughtseize at the sideboard. I mean, I think the Goblins decks without Muxus are literally just Goblins now with Ringleader, probably. Maybe you trim a land or two because you're not going up to 6 anymore. Alright, so we're super dead. See, chat? No Muxus. Still a combo aggro deck. Like, yeah. This is, yeah. Still plenty of stuff that it's good at doing. Our deck is on fire. Is there any way to see what's been registered for Hoots? Is that not public? Deck lists aren't public until the morning, until the round 1 pairs Wanderer. Most people also won't submit deck lists. You don't have to submit a deck list when you join the event. So, like, there's only 8 people joined. And I assume most won't submit decks until, like, the day before. Do you get a tax write-off for the singing lessons? Come on now, I have the voice of an angel. Why you have to be so mean? Why you have to be so mean? Bottom the Symbiosis. We'll go Stomping Ground into Whiteland, Paradise Druid, into Feather. I'm so excited for the plans we have for the Open Series next year. We're gonna do some sweet stuff, chat. It's gonna be great. Are there gonna be hints to that next weekend? No, not really. I have like some loose ideas in my head of stuff I want to do, but feedback on the events. I'm gonna be trying some stuff over the last few months this year. We're gonna have an announcement probably early to mid-December. We'll put out a formal like press release style thing. Yeah, I want to see how the custom ban lists go this weekend. If custom ban lists go well this weekend, we might try a custom format for one of the opens before the end of the year and see how that goes. If I'm being honest, Bluefire, I also don't want to commit to anything publicly until after I see how November shakes out. To be blunt, I am genuinely concerned about the state of the world in my country with what's going to happen in November. MTG Snipe, thank you for the 11 months of Prime support. Not brand new, it said 1. I missed the 11 there at first. Thanks for keeping me around, I appreciate it. Welcome back. Kill this Prospector. Depending on how November goes, Supali, we can recover damage done to the Supreme Court. The court has needed expansion for a long while now. I'm gonna go ahead and kill this, I think. Yeah, maybe that's wrong. wrong. When the military has to escort an attempted usurper from the White House and 51% of the country sees it as justice and 40% of it sees it as a coup, there's going to be a real problem. Yes. Reckless Rage goes for her. I don't think expanding the Supreme Court is going to be as simple as it seems. If the Democrats win a majority of the Senate and they get rid of the filibuster, they can literally do basically anything they want. Is the long and short of it. With a simple majority, they can get rid of the filibuster, and once they get rid of the filibuster, so long as they have control of all three chambers, they can basically change a bunch of the rules. And if they take the Senate and they're smart, they'll get rid of the filibuster, they'll get DC statehood, hopefully Puerto Rico votes to gain statehood, and then with DC becoming a state and getting 2 senators, and Puerto Rico getting senators, it will become even harder for the GOP to ever regain control without drastically changing their policies. Yeah, seems pretty good, huh? Sure, that's why it's key that one of the things they need to do is ratify DC statehood and expand the Senate. Am I keeping Spikefield Hazard? I feel like I am. What I described is an incredibly ideal situation. I am aware that there are a lot of permutations that don't play out that way. What I just described is what should be happening in a perfect world. Isn't Puerto Rico holding a referendum this year? Sure, but that referendum doesn't mean they get statehood if they vote for it. It just says that the people that live there want to be a state. Like, the citizens of DC said that they overwhelmingly want to be a state, but they're not. Because DC being a state is not beneficial to the Republicans, so it's not. That's a good line. There's 2 types of Republicans, those in on the con and those getting conned. That is a big mood. Kill this and smack him for 6. So, like, simply, a lot of people try and undersell how much Obama did when he was in office. A lot of people who fancy themselves progressives who don't like Barack. But, like, the reality is the fact that the ACA got passed for what it is with only having the Senate for 2 years is honestly really impressive for our government. Like, all things considered, that was a big thing to accomplish in the time that it was accomplished. A lot of people like to act like they had control of things for forever and nothing happened, but that's not true. Alright, need to draw a Reckless Rage here, huh? I didn't say it was perfect, BDP, and as someone that supports Medicare for all, I would prefer that be an option. But to act like it's nothing is also not true. Yes, the president has almost no power without the Senate is correct. There's a lot of people that don't understand that. Yeah, where's my other Spikefield Hazard, huh? I've got one more of those. Yeah, any of our protection spells would have been lethal there too. It's unfortunate. So Krenko just makes tokens and kills us here again. So again, beat the Muxus draw handily, died to Krenko Haste Lord games 1 and 3. Because Goblins, even without Muxus, is a very reasonable deck, chat. I live in a heavily blue state. Illinois has several large cities, and large cities tend to skew Democratic because large cities have colleges and more educated people in them on average. Those damn colleges brainwashing the children with liberal ideas. Chicago, Peoria, Bloomington have a lot of population between the three of them. How am I voting on the fair tax referendum in Illinois? I'm going to be honest, I have not looked up any of my local state ballot stuff. Our ballots were supposed to go in the mail Friday. When we get them, I intend to spend a couple hours Google searching things. I think I've heard that one, is the fair tax their ability to implement income tax brackets, basically? I think Christie brought that up and people were complaining about it. That's their, I believe that's my state wanting to tax people who make $50,000 differently than people who make $400,000, right? It's no changes to people under $300,000. I mean, how am I supposed to live if they raise my taxes and I make $350,000 per year, chat? You can do you expect someone to survive on only like $310,000 per year? Come on now. Graduated rate. Yeah, that's how taxes should work. Taxes should go up for people who make more money. People who make more money can afford to pay more taxes. That's a pretty good one, yeah. Oh, this doesn't actually do anything, right? Because they have Trial. I think I'm done for the day. Yeah. Feather's a deck that's gonna stay in the fan favorite section of the website. This archetype's just not good enough in this format. It's fine. Like, we beat Gruul. The matchups where your Reckless Rages are good, you're competitive. The matchups where your Reckless Rages don't have text, you're too far behind. And I think with Claim the Firstborn, I think this archetype preys on a lot of the same decks that Claim the Firstborn preys upon. And this deck is worse at doing what the Claim the Firstborn decks does and has worse matchups against the rest of the field. The Legacy deck today was a total hoot. I'm going to tag it as deck of the day. It was very hilarious. If you could stomach watching Magic online, there are funny games of Magic in the Legacy set. At any rate, I'm going to sign off. I'm not sure exactly what my schedule looks like for next week. I'm going to talk to my boss and get that posted later this evening. Remember, 1 week from today is the next open with a modified ban list where Claim won't be legal. So Feather's probably a decent archetype to play in that tournament if it's something you enjoy, because we're banning Claim the Firstborn. So I will be back likely tomorrow. I'll catch all of y'all around later. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Saturday wherever you're at. Peace, folks.